E aí, tudo bem? Meu nome é Guilherme Piscin, vou compartilhar com vocês um experimento que eu fiz utilizando mais uma ferramenta nova, ainda experimental, de inteligência artificial generativa, que se chama NotebookLM. E aproveitando que podcast está super em alta e na moda, essa ferramenta ajuda justamente a criar um podcast conversacional entre duas pessoas e que vocês vão ver que o resultado é fantástico. Bom, para alimentar o modelo com o contexto que eu queria, eu utilizei umas notas que eu tinha escrito em português há alguns anos atrás, quando eu li um livro, que inclusive eu recomendo para todo mundo, um livro muito bom de desenvolvimento e gerenciamento de produtos de tecnologia, chamado Inspired, em português Inspirado. Vocês encontram esse livro na Amazon e vários outros magazines. Do autor Marty Cagan. E aí eu fiz todas essas anotações, é um livro muito denso, dividido em 5 partes, e eu peguei todas essas anotações em português, fiz a importação para a plataforma e depois eu simplesmente cliquei no ícone ali de gerar a conversação em cima daquilo ali. E o resultado é fantástico. São 17 minutos de áudio que foi gerado, a conversa entre duas pessoas, muito fluida, não tem nenhuma leitura robotizada ou até mesmo literal daquilo que eu escrevi nas minhas notas, então realmente tem uma interpretação muito profunda do contexto do que eu tinha colocado. E de novo, eu não fiz o resumo, né? Eu não importei o conteúdo do livro, eu importei o conteúdo das minhas notas que eu tinha anotado em relação àquilo que eu estava lendo. Muito interessante, eu fiquei muito surpreso, assim como algumas pessoas que eu vi que já estão fazendo também esse experimento. Eu vi alguns posts no LinkedIn e achei super interessante compartilhar aqui com vocês. Então segue aí o podcast gravado por inteligência artificial a partir do contexto que eu alimentei na ferramenta. Espero que vocês gostem. Um abraço.
All right, let's dive into these product development notes you've got.
Yeah.
Inspired to build great products, love the title, really gets at that energy I think we're going to unpack today.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got a ton of interesting insights here, and I'm excited to dig into them with you and, with you today.
It's interesting to me, the breadth of your thinking here.
Yeah.
You're not just looking at the, lines of code or the technical aspects of it, but you're really thinking about the whole experience.
Right.
The user, the business, everything.
Yeah, and that holistic view is something that you come back to again and again in your notes. And I think for someone who might be newer to this whole product development world, the idea that functionality isn't everything, that might be a bit of a head-scratcher.
Yeah.
So connect those dots for us. Like, why isn't it enough anymore to just build something that works technically?
Well, think about it like this, right? Imagine a restaurant. And this restaurant has the most talented chef in the world. Mm-hmm. Like, incredible, mind-blowing food.
Amazing.
But the service is terrible.
Mm.
The chairs are uncomfortable. There's no atmosphere. Would you go back?
Probably not.
No.
Even if the food was amazing, I probably...
It's the experience, right?
It's the whole thing.
Exactly. And that's what your notes really highlight, is that a product needs to work within a user's life. It's not just a standalone thing. It's got to be part of a larger experience.
And it's got to be a good experience. And you also talk about this idea of continuous discovery and delivery. And you've even said that rushing to market can actually be like detrimental to a product's success.
Yeah, that's right. It's a mistake to think of product development as a race.
Yeah.
The goal is not to be the first one out there. The real goal is to be constantly learning and iterating and making sure that what you are building is actually something people want and will use.
So that makes me think about how you talk about the MVP, because it's so easy to get caught up in that minimum viable product definition.
Right.
But you're kind of challenging that, aren't you?
You picked up on that. Yeah, I'm a little wary of the minimum part of that, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it can lead to teams launching something before it's truly ready. Mm-hmm. For me, the MVP is really about validating assumptions and doing that as quickly as possible, but not at the expense of creating a truly valuable experience.
Yeah. So it's like more strategic experimentation than just like get anything out the door.
Exactly. It's about having confidence in what you're putting out there, and that it's providing value from day one.
Yeah.
Which of course requires having the right team in place.
And you don't just mean a team with the right resumes and pedigrees. You talk about the importance of shared passion, shared vision. You even use the term missionary spirit. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Building a product is a journey, right? And like any good adventure, you need a crew that's all kind of rowing in the same direction. You need that shared excitement, that, that drive to solve a problem together. And, you can teach skills, but you can't force passion.
I love that analogy. So who are the key players on this product development crew, this band of missionaries, as you call them?
Well, you got to have your visionary product manager, right? Right. The one kind of charting the course. You need your user-centric designer, making sure the experience is top-notch. And of course, you can't forget the technically gifted engineers, the ones actually building the engine of the whole operation.
It's more than just having those rock star roles filled, though, isn't it?
Right.
Reading through your notes, you talk about the unsung heroes, the data analysts, the user researchers. It seems like you're really emphasizing this value of a truly diverse team.
Yeah, spot on. A good product team needs that blend of perspectives, right? That mix of analytical minds who can, really dig into the data and figure out what's going on. And then those creative souls who can really empathize with the user. And of course, let's not forget about the marketing team.
Oh, yeah.
The ones who are ultimately going to be responsible for getting this product into the hands of users.
Yeah, getting it out there.
Absolutely.
It's like everyone's bringing a different set of skills and experiences to the table.
Totally. And it's about creating an environment where those different perspectives can kind of, collide and create something special. But, it's not enough to just assemble a talented team, is it?
Right.
You also talk about the importance of fostering a really strong product culture.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, right? Culture eats strategy for breakfast.
It's so true.
So what are some of those ingredients that go into a really, healthy, thriving product culture?
Well, I mean, you clearly get this. Reading through your notes, you talk about clear communication, you talk about shared vision, building trust within the team.
Right.
All critical components.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about, having that shared goal. It's about creating an environment where everyone feels heard, respected,
yes,
empowered to, contribute their best work.
Exactly. And you even talk about the need for psychological safety on a product team.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me. It's about creating a space where people feel comfortable taking risks, sharing ideas, even making mistakes without, fear of judgment or reprisal.
Because that's how you learn. That's where the real innovation comes from.
100%.
Taking those risks.
Yeah. Now, speaking of pushing boundaries, I got to tell you, your thoughts on traditional product roadmaps, they really caught my eye. You did not hold back here.
Oh, no.
Calling them problematic, even a root cause of waste at times.
Strong words.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think it's easy to fall into this trap of, the roadmap is everything. But you're suggesting we need to shift our focus away from just features.
It's not that feature-based roadmaps are inherently bad.
Right.
It's that they can become a crutch. A way to avoid asking the hard questions.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a time when your team got so caught up in hitting these deadlines that you lost sight of the why behind the features you were building.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Ooh, that's a story for another time.
Okay.
But you're right. It's so easy to get caught up in those weeds, the deadlines, the deliverables, and lose sight of those bigger questions of, why are we building this?
Right.
What problem are we solving? And for whom?
Exactly. It's about shifting the focus from output to outcomes instead of just, checking features off a list. We should be asking ourselves, what impact do we want to have on our users?
Right.
What does success actually look like?
It's about making sure every decision, every line of code is actually, moving the needle toward that larger goal. I love that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier, the importance of having a compelling product vision. So how does that kind of tie into this idea of these more outcome-driven roadmaps?
So strong product vision, it acts as a North Star.
Okay.
Right. It's guiding your roadmap, keeping everyone aligned on the bigger picture. And in your notes, you actually describe a compelling vision as a beacon, right?
Yeah.
That not only inspires your team, but also captivates your users.
It's about painting that picture of the future you're trying to create, right?
Yeah.
And inviting users to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
But you also said, a vision should be grounded in a really deep understanding of of the target market.
100%.
Right.
You can't be everything to everyone.
Yeah.
Right. You have to make choices.
Mm-hmm.
And those choices should be driven by a deep understanding of your ideal user. Who are you building this product for? What are their needs, their pain points, their aspirations?
And that's where strategy comes in.
Yes.
Right? You can't chase every shiny object. You can't try to please every potential user. You've got to prioritize. You've got to make tough decisions about where to focus the energy.
Exactly. And I see that strategic thinking reflected in your notes.
Yeah. You
even mentioned, some key factors to consider when you're evaluating opportunities. TAM, GTM, TTM.
Okay, break those down for our listener who might not be as familiar with all the lingo.
Right.
The jargon.
Right. So TAM is total addressable market.
Okay.
Basically, how big is the pie?
Got it.
How many potential customers are out there?
Okay.
Then you've got GTM, go-to-market strategy.
Right.
And that's all about figuring out how are you actually going to reach these customers? Right. Are you going to sell directly to consumers online? Are you going to partner with retailers? The approach you choose can really make or break a product.
Huge. And then TTM, time to market.
Yeah.
And this one I feel like is especially crucial today.
Yeah.
Things move so fast.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just have a great idea. You got to be able to execute quickly.
Yep.
Get your product into the hands of users before somebody else does.
And that ties back into what we were talking about earlier about continuous discovery and delivery.
Right.
You can't let the fear of launching too quickly prevent you from getting that valuable feedback.
Yeah.
And iterating based on real-world usage.
It's about finding that balance.
Right.
That speed and quality.
Yeah.
But even if you nail the vision, you've got the team, the roadmap's perfect, there's still a chance you could build the wrong thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
100%.
And that's why you dedicate so much of your thinking here to this crucial phase of product discovery.
Yeah.
Right. You clearly understand that building the right thing is just as important as building it right.
Yeah.
You even go as far as to identify the 4 key risks of product development. And I kind of want to dive into those a little bit further.
Let's do it.
Okay. Lay it on us. The 4 horsemen of the product development apocalypse.
Right.
Value risk, usability risk, feasibility risk, and business viability risk. So you've got your team. They're all on the same page. The vision is clear. You're ready to build.
Yep.
What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, man. Even with the best of intentions, right?
Yeah.
So many things can go wrong.
Right.
But I think identifying the risk early on is huge.
Okay.
That's half the battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned value risk first.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the big one.
Yeah.
Right? You can build the most technically impressive, beautiful product in the world.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't solve a real problem
Right.
for real people,
It's DOA.
it's useless. It's like that restaurant, right?
Yeah.
With the award-winning chef, but nobody ever goes there.
Exactly.
And then there's usability risk, right?
Okay.
You got to make sure that people can actually use the thing.
Right.
It has to be intuitive, easy to navigate, delightful to use.
Gotta feel good.
Yeah. You actually give a great example in your notes. You talk about a time where you observed a user
Mm-hmm.
and they were struggling with a task in an app.
Right.
And it seemed like a really simple task,
Yeah.
but it turned out.
They were making assumptions about how the interface worked
Yes.
that the designers hadn't anticipated.
Right.
And it was a real light bulb moment for the whole team to see that.
Totally changed their whole approach.
Yeah, big time.
Okay. So then we've got feasibility risk.
Okay.
Right. And this is about making sure you can actually build what you're envisioning,
Right.
given, the technical constraints
Right.
and your resources and your team and all of that.
Yeah. Sometimes the laws of physics,
Literally.
or at least the limitations of technology, can kind of throw a wrench in things.
Totally.
But then even if you manage to kind of, dodge all of those bullets,
Yep.
there's still business viability risks.
Ah, yes. This is the one, right?
Yeah,
That I think often gets overlooked
totally.
in the excitement of building something new. And look, you can pour your heart and soul into a product,
Yeah,
but if it doesn't align with your overall business goals,
right.
or there's no viable path to, profitability,
Yeah.
it's going to be really hard to justify.
It's tough to justify all those late nights.
All those late nights. All that coffee.
Exactly, all the coffee. So how do we actually combat these risks? Like, you're a big advocate for not just identifying them, but actually almost like seeking them out.
Yes, 100%. You called it in your notes, embracing the unknown.
Yeah.
which I love.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid to poke holes in your assumptions. Go out and talk to real users. Test your ideas before you invest too much time and energy building the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm. You're also a big fan of prototyping.
Oh, huge.
I love this quote from your notes. A prototype is worth 1,000 meetings.
It's so true.
So tell me why you believe that so strongly, like this power of building early and often.
Because a prototype is more than just a mock-up.
Right.
It's a conversation starter.
Okay.
It's a way to get feedback early and often to test those assumptions.
Right.
To make sure you're on the right track.
Yeah.
And you gave a great example in your notes about how...
No, we prototyped a voice interface for a product.
Yes.
Using, get this, a simple chatbot.
I love it.
And some like clever sound design.
So good.
And it was rough around the edges.
Right.
But it let us test that core concept.
Yeah.
Get feedback.
Exactly.
Without writing a single line of code.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be useful.
Yeah. Get it out there. But even with the most thorough discovery process, you're still going to run into disagreements.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Conflicting opinions, especially when it comes to stakeholders.
Ah, stakeholders.
Right. You can't live with them, can't launch a product without them.
It's so true.
So they can be your biggest champions or your biggest roadblock. Any advice for navigating those sometimes treacherous waters?
Well, communication is key.
Of course.
But not just any communication. It's got to be clear, concise, and compelling. And I love that you mentioned ditching the PowerPoint in your notes.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Death by PowerPoint.
The worst.
Right. Especially in this world, like things are moving so quickly. People are busy. They don't have time to sit through these like long, drawn out presentations.
100%. And you talk in your notes about the power of stories.
Yeah.
Which I love.
It's facts and figures are important, but they don't always stick with people. Right. But a story, like
a story has emotion.
It connects with us.
It connects, yeah.
On a different level. And you even say, like, make them feel the user's pain.
Yes.
Right? Like, if you can help stakeholders really empathize with that user's experience, you're much more likely to get them on board with where you're going.
100%. It's about painting that picture,
creating
that shared understanding, getting everyone excited about the problem that you're solving.
Love it. And speaking of excitement, one of the things that really stood out to me in your notes was how much emphasis you put on building that thriving product culture.
Yeah.
Right? It's clearly not just about checking boxes for you.
Yeah.
It's about creating an environment where
people feel valued.
Yeah.
Supported.
Empowered.
Empowered, yes.
Right. To take those risks, share ideas, even make mistakes, because that's how we learn and grow, right? Both individually and as a team.
It's so important. And, to celebrate the wins, but also, to be honest about what's not working.
Right.
To be willing to course correct. And I love that you talk about fostering a culture of relentless curiosity.
Yeah.
In your notes. Always be learning.
Which kind of brings us to this final provocative thought that you wanted to leave our listener with today. And it's a simple question, but it's powerful. You ask, is your team celebrating the delivery of features, or are you truly focused on the impact that those features are having on your users and on your business?
At the end of the day, that's what matters, right? It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of shipping features and hitting deadlines. But ultimately, the success of a product, it's not measured by the number of features it has.
Right.
It's measured by the value that it creates for users.
The impact.
And the impact that has on the world.
Yeah. It's about never losing sight of the why.
The why, exactly.
Why are we building this?
Yeah.
What problem are we solving? And are we making a difference? And on that note, I think those are some pretty fantastic questions to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive.
I think so, too. You've given us a lot to think about.
Well, thanks for diving in with me today.
Absolutely. This was fun.